Imposter syndrome, not feeling good enough, or self-doubt, it comes in many different names, doesn't it? It's the number one negative mindset that stops coaches from living their purpose and making a career out of helping people. Imposter syndrome always originates from some time in the past when you were younger and something happened to you that caused you to feel not good enough. And the unfortunate thing is, this past experience will continue to ask for your help, but it will do so in a very unresourceful way at very inopportune times. Well, Scott recognized that this was an obstacle for him that was standing directly in his way, and he very intelligently chose to team up. And he did, within a few minutes, what most of his peers failed to solve on their own in their entire lifetime. Let's take a look within this coaching session where I find the root cause of Scott's deep unconscious mental block and how he and I both teamed up with the divine presence to completely remove this old habit from even being an option in his life moving forward. So basically, just the big picture is, this is just really helpful. This doing this is really helpful to, like, I feel, especially for men too. You know, historically, the majority of the students we've ever had or clients have been predominantly women, but I've never like wanted to just niche with women or just men. It's just it's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to actually help like specific people, like yourself. And but it's really interesting because lately, like, the men are really more stepping up, and as far as like doing sessions like this, I definitely have women doing that too. But I just feel like mm, more people need to see what's possible, and transformation is really, really powerful. It's really, really important, but people don't know, right? Like, we're such creatures of habit or what we can see, and if we don't see it, then we don't really get to experience it. So that's why this is just really, really helpful. And so far, every time I've done a video like this, it's really helped out a lot of people. A lot of people feel impacted, or they reach out for help, or I set them up with another coach, something like that. So thank you for just being part of the light, and part of just like shining and sharing, like what's possible. And yeah, thanks for being a leader.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
Mm.
perfect.
Thanks for the opportunity. It's definitely experience, and I think, as you say, definitely more people need to step up to it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as like coaching sessions go, sometimes that, if I work with people that are more of a regular basis, then sometimes it's what I'll do. It's what's called elicit. So I'll basically kind of just find some things that they need to work on. Not that, they always kind of know, but the point I'm trying to make is, this is something you're coming into it with, or something very specific. And so just, can you tell me a little bit? I know you shared with me a little bit, but share with me today now in your words, like, what is the biggest thing that you're struggling with that you want the most help with?
The thing I was struggling with the most was just having, when someone says that you're not good enough or something like that, you just get that little feeling in the back of your head, or down your spine, sort of thing, that just or it might be that someone says, "Oh, it's above your pay grade," or little things like that. It's not that it really, it just makes you sit up and take notice of it, really, rather than just letting it wash over. Like it sort of hits something on the way through, but you're not too sure what.
Okay, I'm just taking really good notes here. So like, when people say things like you're not good enough, you say like, I just want to use your words, tingles down their spine.
Yeah. It's sort of just something that just sort of like the hairs stand on the back of your neck, sort of thing. It's just like, ooh, and yeah.
I used to get that a lot when I was a kid, like when I felt, the best way to explain it was when there was like divisive energy. I don't know if you experienced this, but that tingle down the spine, but like I would kind of do like a little shiver. Like when just something didn't, it was almost like sometimes when animals, like when deer or or dogs, or just, sometimes animals, like they get hit or like hit by a car. Sometimes they'll like get off and just shake it off the nervous system and not move, and move forward, not carry with them. Animals are quite different than humans that way. Um, but when these things come up, when people share or say these things like, you're not good enough or it's above your pay grade, and then the tingles go down your spine, what does that cause you to feel like?
Yeah, it's just that feeling of not being good enough, or um, sort of like get back in your hole sort of thing. Yeah. Um, yeah, like you need, yeah.
And then, is there any like imposter syndrome that comes up at all, or is just more?
No, it's more when I know that I can actually do the job, or can do the whatever it is that comes up, and it's but someone sort of puts that doubt onto you that you're not good enough, and
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And where in life is this happening for you? Where is this coming up in a problem for you? Which area of life?
um, it's probably like a lot when you're meeting new people, maybe, or if you're in a work situation, I guess more. And where I'd say it probably comes up.
Meeting new people, specifically in a work situation.
Yeah, probably more in a work situation. Yeah, or more when I want to do something physical, or build something, or make something, or I know I can do it, but then someone says no, you're not. Yeah, and it's not necessarily that they know what I can do either. They may not know what I can do.
Right. And what kind of work situation? Because you said, I mean, when you're meeting new people, so like I'm trying to get a picture in my mind when you meet somebody new in a work situation where you're building, and they say, "Oh, you're not good enough." Like, do they really say that you're not good enough, or is that how you feel off what they say? You know what I mean? There's a difference.
Um, it's not that they probably. It's not that they say that I'm not good enough. It's probably more that it's implied that I don't necessarily know what I'm doing. Yeah.
All right. And how long has this been going on? Like, is this a recent thing, or has this been like going on for some time in your life?
No, if I think back, it's been quite a long time in my life that I've had that. Yeah.
And if you think back, quite a long time ago, how long back does it go to the beginning of where this first started now?
I'd be right back to 6 or 7, probably at least. Yeah.
And, and then 6 or 7, can you describe to me like the scene, the scenario where you're like inside a building or outside of a building?
Um, it's probably more. It could be inside or outside, really. And it probably stems from having older brothers um, that they were always doing things, and yet I was always too young to go and to follow along and do the same thing. It was
How many older brothers did you have?
I had two older brothers, about 4 and 6 years older than me.
4 and 6, two older brothers. Okay. And so something happened around the time period when you were 6 or 7, and your older brothers kind of said something to you because you were 6 or 7 and you just haven't had much life experience, and they've had more, and but it's probably more sensitive, and so something kind of got stuck there, or like a belief or a program that needs to be upgraded. Does that ring true?
Yeah, definitely a program, probably. Yeah.
And is there a particular scene in your mind when you think back around the time when you were 6 or 7 and your older brothers kind of said something, do you see like that the memory in color, or is it more in black and white?
There's probably like quite a few times that like memories I have of it.
How many do you see?
Oh.
First number.
6.
Okay. And are they all 6 in color, or black and white, or a combination?
They'll be in color.
Okay. And the emotion is feeling of not being good enough, but what's well, maybe that's the feeling. Okay. And so are the pictures, do they are they like perfect square? Are they rectangle? Are they circular? What shape are these pictures in? First answer.
I don't know if they've really got a shape to them. The first thing that came up was probably a circle, but yeah.
Okay.
It's more the greens and reds that pop out of them, probably, if anything.
Okay. And are these pictures, are they like equally spaced out, or is there, some overlapping each other? Like, how are they spaced out in your mind?
Probably stacked on top of one another. Yeah, one in front of the other. Yeah.
Okay. And then it's kind of like this, and if you were to put it like faced up towards the sky, stacked on top of each other, what would that do? How would that feel?
Yeah, no, that changes it. Just sort of, yeah, takes a weight off straight down the shoulder. Yeah.
And so, if before we did that, if the feeling of not being good enough, we're going to put a number to it, was at 100%, and we switched them from kind of facing you stacked until facing up, and you felt that energy flow, what percentage is it right now?
Before, I'll probably say it was an 8, and now I'd say it's probably like a 5.
Okay. And ask your unconscious mind, or what's the first thing that comes to mind when I ask you, is there anything that needs to be extracted, any resources, or the baby, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater? Is there any positive resources, including your younger self back then, that needs to come out of the pictures before we get rid of the pictures, or transform them in a way that would serve you best?
I just get a no in my head. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So if the pictures are faced up, and maybe they're maybe circular shape, but whatever size they are, if we can kind of shrink it down to 1/10 the size that they are, what does that do to the feeling?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, drops that feeling away. Just, yeah. Yeah. No, it's moved and just gets it even lighter, sort of. Yeah.
And if you can take whatever weight that was in your body from this internal picture, this internal memory, and you take all that weight and you put it all the way into this like little circle, almost like a marble, of where, like, turn it into that shape of a marble. And if you were to get a slingshot, so it's like a stick with a Y in it and a rubber band, kind of some leather holding it, and you put in that slingshot and you pick a direction to shoot it, so it can just go be transmuted somewhere. Which direction would you shoot it in?
Probably off to my right, quite to my right. Yeah.
And how far away In country, out of country, on the planet, or off the planet? Which would feel best?
Out of country, probably. Yeah, off to another country.
Off to another country or in the ocean?
No, country into the desert.
Perfect.
Hmm.
And then as that's happened, how does that feel inside? What are you feeling inside right now?
Definitely that. Yeah, peace, divine energy, sort of. Yeah, just clears the mind. Yeah.
And what color is that kind of peace, that divine energy, or what does that look like right now?
I'm going to say pink candy floss. Yeah.
And can you have that pink candy floss like just grow in a little bit of size? So basically, it's inside, but it also can expand. So it kind of completely fills up the whole entire every square inch, meter, centimeter of the house that you're in right now with its presence, its light.
Mm.
And how does that feel?
Definitely. Yeah, more open, more free, I guess, and yeah, can can breathe. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's huge. And let's just keep going a little bit more because it's just what I'm intuitively guided to do. Really suggest that ask this divine presence to multiply. It's that pink kind of candy, kind of the presence, multiply itself and go into all the situations in your past where the old thing happened that's just no longer there. It's in some sort of desert. But now that divine presence can move into those old experiences, giving you a lot more freedom and more options and opportunity in the future, but divinely guided. So it doesn't leave you and it doesn't shrink. It literally just multiplies and it goes whoosh, 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 wherever it's needed most.
Mm. It fills up all those spaces. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely not the same feeling. Yeah, with that. Yeah.
And then one more suggestion would be to ask it to once again multiply itself and go into the situation that it knows in the future that you're going to need it. And it can just be like it's infinite intelligence. It created you in creation itself. So it knows when you're going to need it. So you can just ask it to multiply. I need you, the divine presence, I need you to multiply yourself and go into those situations in the future where I'm going to need you, where people might say some things that's just their point of view. It's almost like a gift that they're giving that I just don't need to receive. They can just keep it. And it's just a point of view, or it's just a percept. It's one out of infinity points of view. It's just an opinion. And I mean, there's a lot of situations, a lot of possibilities. It could be a projection. Most people project on other people their mental map of the world, their limitations or their beliefs. And of course, when people do that, there's not a lot of consciousness with it, which means the divine presence is far away from that person in that moment or that personality or that part of them. So, the good news and the cool thing about connecting to that divine presence, it only takes in any relationship. It doesn't matter if it's you and cattle, if it's you and your boots. I'm being serious. You and money, you and your wife, you and a stranger, you in the road, a car, anything. Like life is all about relationships. And it only takes in any relationship, it only takes one person to connect to the divine presence to alter in a very positive way the relationship. And it's like once a person consciously brings the divine presence into that relationship, things flow. There's that flow state, there's the God flow, and it invites somebody else. We don't have to, it's not necessarily a religious thing. You don't have to necessarily even talk about it. And it has nothing even to do with the belief system, which is limited to the mind. It has everything to do with experiencing. And people will generally flow, what feels best with them or what they feel open to, at least giving people the opportunity to connect with that divine presence just by being in your presence. And how would that feel?
Yeah, definitely need to share it around. Just, yeah. Can go out everywhere. Yeah.
And that's really ultimately what you're here to do, is to, in my experience, in my opinion, like after working with so many people and studying, you know, personal growth, success for, 215,000 hours, I really concluded, and it hasn't changed, but I'm really open to it changing, but it hasn't changed, that we're really here for three major things. We're here to, like, every human, I feel like I can speak for every human being. I don't know if everybody necessarily would agree, because if the divine presence is far away, then they wouldn't. But if the divine presence is close, I 100% agree that they would agree that we're here, number one, to learn lessons. There are no such things as mistakes. There's only learning experiences. There is no such thing as failure. There's only feedback. And failure is testing. So we're here to learn lessons. And without learning the lessons, we can't grow, which is the second part. Grow in consciousness. And what does that mean? Well, as we go through experiences, a lot of times people at a certain age, it's something in the collective consciousness of adults where they believe that I should know this already, and when adults say that around me, I should know this already. And I check in with their, how many repetitions they've had, how many years have you done this? Well, none. How many months have you done this? None. How many days? None. How many hours? Really none. How many minutes? 4. So how are you supposed to know something, or none? So how are you supposed to know something that you've never learned? Not possible. So we're here to learn, but grow, which we have to feel things we have to experience. That's the third thing. But to grow, we have to, like, there's these lessons, there's a devil at every level, there's these terror barriers, there's uncomfortability precedes growth. And if we want to grow, it's outside of our comfort zone. And that uncomfortability is really the old paradigm, and upgrading to a new, more illuminated one, more resourceful one. And the ego, dying off, burning off too. So we're here to learn in our life. We're here to grow in consciousness and as a human being. And we're here to fully experience every experience. They really go in tandem. I've also concluded there's another one that I would add to it too. Again, it only counts, or people would only agree, I feel, if the divine presence is close. Learn, grow, experience 100% of people, 100% of lifetimes. But I also concluded and realized that we're also here to share some of the spiritual gifts that, where we come from. We're not, in a way, Earth is a learning ground. It's a training ground. It's to learn, grow, and experience, and it's not permanent. Our life is, in my experience, takes forever. Life is so long, it takes forever. In high school, doing things for me that I didn't love, and watching the clock go tick, tick. Time is so slow. But then as I grow, learn, grow, and experience in my life and do the things I love and hang around the people I love, things go so much faster. Life is actually pretty short. But I do have concluded that we are here to also bring our spiritual gifts. It's the best way to explain it, from this world, or in this world, through us, through that divine presence. But we're also supposed to learn some of the lessons and bring it back to where we came from and share. So I really feel like learn, grow, experience, and share. That's really what I've concluded every human being. And I've also concluded that when people are on their path, they're doing those things and they're in alignment with it, but there's a direct relationship to every single one of us being on their path, and a ruler, a measuring tape or stick of how close or how far away is that divine presence. And when it's really close, everything is possible. When it's really far away, we suffer. Like, that's literally human suffering equals without God, without that divine presence. It's just really far away. It's like the computer without the internet is just not super valuable as it would be with the internet.
Yeah, 100%. We're here to teach as well as learn, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
Share with everybody.
Yep. That's that sharing piece, and we all come with our specific life purpose that's born within us. And the issue that I find is when people go outside of themselves or go to other people, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? It's like, well, you're supposed to go deep within to learn, to discover what you're here to, what you're built and born to do. You need to keep going deep within to find out what that is, develop the tools and resources, and you need to have those relationships. It's an internal and external marriage. It's a both, but it's an infinitely journey inwards, also learning and receiving and giving more, like, yeah, teaching and learning more externally to the people that we're meant to serve and help out. And it goes both ways.
Definitely.
Yeah. So kind of circling back in full circle, how do you feel now when you think about, if I were to say, to you, you like, if you're picking something physical, you're not good enough, or, you know what, Scott, this is just above your pay grade. How do you feel differently now?
Yeah, it's just a word. It's, yeah, doesn't mean, yeah. It's just, it is what it is, and yeah. And it is, it's that, no, sometimes you don't know, yeah, but you don't know what you don't know, so.
Yeah. You don't know what you don't know, but it doesn't mean you can't learn what you have not yet learned.
Yeah, that's right.
And the only thing that would stop a person from learning something they haven't learned yet is like the negative mindset, ego program. But keeping that divine presence close, it's the key that unlocks everything. Like the universe, literally, it created the universe, but it's like the keys to the kingdom is the divine presence. And sometimes we might have people in the future that might share something like, well, it might be above your pay grade, and that might be true. It might be a good thing, like for me, when I first moved to this ranch a few years ago, dealing with snakes was above my pay grade. Like, I just didn't, growing up. There's one thing I learned about being on a ranch. Let me see if I can remember all of them, but snakes are one of them. Firearms are another one. Most fighting scenes in Hollywood. So I'm talking about Hollywood, but and alligators. Those are the four things. So we'll start with snakes. Well, in Hollywood and a lot of TV shows, snakes are always big, always long, and always gonna surprise you and jump from feet away and bite you. Well, that doesn't really happen so much in the real world. And learning, different kinds of snakes, like the majority of snakes that we see are what are called chicken snakes or rat snakes, and they smell the scent and they want to eat the eggs. And we, of course, got to protect our chickens and take care of them. But the first snake that I ever saw, I opened up the chicken coop. It was an external door, and I opened up to look for eggs daily. I didn't even have it in my mind. I knew snakes were possible, but I haven't seen one. And all of a sudden I opened it up and jumped out and really startled me, because what flashed in my mind was my past experience, which was no experience, which was just kind of Hollywood programming in a way. It's something I saw in movies. And then, but then I have my training. I have EMT training. I have martial arts training. I have meditation. I have a lot of different training. So I brought the divine presence in. I don't mind being startled. My body, has that fear response for survival, and I appreciate that. And I bring in the divine presence, and actually, I didn't have a snake stick at the time, a snake grabber, and so I just got a hammer, and I took the hammer, I used the back end, and I was just carefully moving it. And I knew it wasn't a timber rattlesnake. I knew it wasn't a copperhead. I knew it wasn't venomous. So I moved really, really slowly with my energy, and I actually got to move it out. It did get faster, and I had to move it faster at some point. But I realized for the most part, right? Like snakes, they don't bite statues, they don't bite trees. So if I ever see like a snake, even venomous snake, if you don't move, it's not going to do anything. Of course, there are aggressive ones, but if you don't step on it or intimidate it. So that was a bit about snakes and firearms. Because I've been carrying a firearm for a long time, and I have 100% success. Or I've never pointed it once at anything, or anybody, and it's the people, it's not the firearms. But like with Hollywood, it's either like if there's a firearm, then it's like it's a bomb, like everyone acts like it's a nuclear bomb, or it's the extreme, they haphazardly like swing in front of people and like not take it seriously. Fight scenes, because I have martial arts background, you have these 100-pound woman and 300-pound man, and she moves her fist or whatever, and the guy falls and gets knocked out. I'm like, well, that generally doesn't happen. And then alligators, alligators are so scary, and all these things where they're in our backyard, not backyard, but in our backyard's a river, and they swim down the river. We see them, and they're just peaceful. The snakes, the gators, they just really want to do their thing and be left alone. They don't really want to be around people. But that's the point I'm making, is that I didn't have these experiences before, and it was above my pay grade. But then I studied, and I got to learn of how they learn. Like I'm on this beautiful ranch, but I got to share it with these animals. It's not just everybody get away. I mean, all the mosquitoes leave. We're just doing some work in the ranch today, and there's all these mosquitoes, and I don't know how to communicate to mosquitoes, so I just do my best to deal with them and work with them. But that's it in nature and in life, is that there are going to be some things above our pay grade, but it doesn't mean we can't learn and increase our skill set, or team up with an expert too as well. Being really, really resourceful. And as far as like the whole you're not good enough, well, you do have our spiritual online NLP training, and once you get to that point of the meta model, I believe it is 55-page PDF. Like, it's extremely robust and user friendly, and it just becomes fun. Like, it's so amazing. I've experienced it. Thousands of students have experienced it, where you get to a point where like you don't know what to say in a situation, but then you start practicing these questions that's literally coming from curiosity, and it's literally like a key that unlocks people. So you're not good enough. You're like, according to whom? How do you know? What happens if I wasn't good enough? What does that mean? What's the intention behind that? Like, there's so many different questions you can do, and there's a lot of different levels of skill set. But it gets to really curiosity. And the powerful thing with the meta model too is, most people, this is also what I've learned, this is really kind of scientific, the majority of people, I call it, there's 3 levels deep. If somebody says something like you're not good enough, and you ask one question like, how do you know? Well, I don't know, I just thought something, I don't know, whatever. Majority of people, they don't go one question deep. Majority of people don't even know what to say. But if somebody knows what to ask, it's not even, it's all connected from that divine presence. They don't go deep. But then if someone says, you're not good enough, well, how do you know I'm not good enough? Because you didn't do this correctly. Well, what's your definition of correct? I don't know. That's just the way I've always done it. So boom, they can't go 2 levels deep. So that's what's so interesting about that. If you actually have 2 calculated questions for any scenario, it becomes fun, because you actually get to help unlock people. Or if somebody tries to put their map on you, it's just like you walk through it. It's just like you said, it's just words. They're not my words, they're your words, but I'm not taking ownership for your words, and tip my hat and go on about my day.
Yeah.
So how does that feel overall of what we did? Does that feel pretty complete for tonight or today?
Yeah. No, I think so. Yeah. I think I've sort of been working on a little bit myself, but yeah, definitely when you hear it from someone else, it changes that last little bit. You can't do it all on your own.
Right. And so that's great to hear, Scott. And if you can think about like the situations where this used to be an issue for you, and I want you to kind of like pick two or three of them right now and mentally kind of go through them with the shift that happened in these new resources internally and externally. And tell me how does that feel? How does that feel? Is anything that gets hiccupy or stuck, or you just flow through those scenarios that might be coming up in the future that were similar to the past now?
At this stage, it just flows through. Yeah, still just flows through and just it doesn't bring anything up at this stage. Yeah.
That's amazing. So it's permanently shifted. That's what it tells me. And there could be different parts that come up that have different needs in the future, and we can always talk about that and address that in the future. But for right now, this was amazing. You did an amazing job.
Thank you. Yeah.
I can tell you've been doing a lot of work on yourself and trusting your unconscious mind and allowing it to help guide you. And the more you learn, your unconscious mind gets inputted with information, and then the more you utilize peripheral awareness, it will pick over the operation. So there's some consciousness that it needs to happen on your part is just like kind of the MacGyver syndrome. It's just like stop going to peripheral vision and just be like, well, what do I need here? Like in this situation, what are the resources? And then, but the unconscious mind is always there. It's literally the recorder of all the information and the store of all information and memories. But it's more than that. It's not just a librarian that is off storing things when people aren't looking. It's also, you can consciously ask, where's this book? Where's this memory? Oh, boom, boom. And it's like that quick. And so the more you utilize it, the stronger your unconscious mind gets. The more you trust it, it's not childish, but it's very childlike. And so it likes attention. So it's kind of like a dog in a way. It's like the more attention you give it and the more you utilize it, it will give you more, which is really neat.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yep.
Well, that sounds good. Sounds like you feel pretty complete.
Yeah. No, it was. I knew it would be a relatively easy one to work through. But because it's not, it wasn't one that was right up on the surface, but it's definitely it was there. You still got to dig in to get it, but it's And I guess that's where my ego's taking over too, because I'm looking for these things now too to get rid of them. So.
Yeah, it's a balance. It's like a teeter-totter because the ego is such a trickster because your neo, your true self can be looking for things, but then the ego can take over and like, yeah, let's look for things. And like it's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of like the ego is kind of like the kidnapper that joins the search party to try to get going in the wrong direction, in a way. And so it's like, yeah, I'll do everything. So it's just the missing element is just bring that divine presence close. So when you're looking, instead of, if you're doing it without consciousness or without that divine presence, then it's for sure ego. But if you're doing it with, and like if you're trying to and you bring the divine presence and you're not looking for anything anymore, you're just aware, then it was ego. But if you're looking at the divine presence and it's showing you things, then it's the true self. So it's like, to me, it's like a pyramid. It's more obvious at the bottom, but the higher level of consciousness or the deeper you go, it's the same thing. If somebody wants to increase their level of consciousness, go deeper inside. It's not to the head. It's not to logic and intellect. It's actually intelligent intuition. But the deeper we go within ourselves, we get into higher levels of consciousness, which means greater levels of awareness. But what a lot of things don't teach, and what I do, is it's like a pyramid where the higher you get up to the pyramid, there's like less and less big things, but it becomes more and more and more and more subtle, like to the point. And if you want to grow to the next level, it's like more subtle and something you've never seen before. So you got to see something you've never seen before. The trick is you can't see it. You have to ask that divine presence to show you what you cannot see and teach you what you do not know.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. But you're well on track and you're in the right place.
Yeah, I'm definitely learning a lot. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's
Very good.
that's it for today. You did great.
Thank you. Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching this video. You know, you were born to help people, and I know that there are unconscious mental blocks from your past that you haven't been able to solve on your own. Well, I got some good news for you that might give you some instant relief. And that news is you were never meant to solve everything on your own. You weren't built or created to. It's not even possible. I have some even better news for you is I've dedicated my entire life to helping coaches just like you become the leaders that they know that they need to be in order to complete the deeper spiritual mission they came here to achieve within this lifetime. This is a lifelong pursuit, and I have the absolute best tools, techniques, strategies, and support training system that you can easily plug into and rapidly accelerate not only your own personal growth, but the people you were divinely guided to serve. This will require you to sacrifice something. You must sacrifice your independence, you trying to do it all on your own, which is getting you nowhere, and a little bit of your ego, which is definitely not your amigo. And in exchange for your sacrifice, you will receive guided support, a step by step proven success plan, and the transformational tools you've been asking and searching for, which will allow you to take the foot off the brake and quickly achieve results beyond your wildest dreams. Check out the description below for more information. And please help this guy. There's a guy named Algorithm who oversees all of my videos. And he says that he will show them to more people if you like, subscribe, ring the bell, comment, and share this video. So thank you for helping me out. And I'll see you in the next video if I don't talk to you first.